Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of A Lot of You Have Been Asking. I am so excited to be joined by author, content creator, friend, Jenn. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited to chat with you today.
I'm so excited too. I was just talking selfishly. I have so many questions just about because I'm a really bad chef, I say.
Well, don't tell yourself that. The first step is believe that you can. We'll talk about it.
I like that. I needed that inspiration on this Monday morning. Talk to me about your journey, because I've followed you now for a while. I love the content that you create. Tell me about how did it begin?
Yeah, it's kind of a not linear journey.
Yeah.
Which I think for a lot of us, I'm sure you're the same way. It's not like I just decided one day that I was going to be somebody that makes recipe videos, and then I did that. I started my Instagram account when I was in college.
Okay.
And this was not a thing, being an influencer, content creator, and even making money from this kind of work was not a thing. Videos were not a thing on Instagram. I was just
all static
photos.
pictures.
Yeah, you couldn't even post a carousel. You had one. So that's when
that ages us.
I know. So it was a very different time, and I honestly had started the account just because I love to cook. I love food. I've always loved social media too, aesthetic things. I love taking photos. I was always sharing photos of my food before I even had anyone to share it with, honestly. So I just really decided one day, okay, I'm going to start this account. And at the time, I was kind of going through my own health journey. I always loved to cook. I loved to bake, especially. I was part of the Cake Boss, Cupcake Wars generation. And I was like, okay, I love to cook, but I need to eat some healthier dishes. So I needed to learn kind of all over again how to cook. And, the basics were there, but there was a lot that I didn't know, especially about making healthy food taste good. And I didn't want to give up eating really delicious food. I just wanted to figure out how to do it in a way that worked for me and my new lifestyle that I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I was kind of documenting that and sharing some of my healthier swaps, what I was trying. And I went through all different phases of it. But it was really just for my friends and family. I had under 1,000 followers for a long time. And then when Reels became a thing in, I think early 2020 is when they came out. I didn't even really want to do it. I did not want to show my face. I did not want to talk.
You're don't make me do this stuff.
No, I was not. I've always been pretty shy and introverted, so that wasn't coming naturally to me at all. So I kind of held off a little bit on doing Reels. I ended up finally getting into it. They were so bad. If you want to scroll back, you can see.
I know. Isn't it so annoying, looking at your old digital footprint and being ew.
I know.
I was so cringe.
There's so much now that I just don't even scroll back there.
Yeah, right.
It was a learning process. So I was posting Reels for at that point I had been posting on Instagram for 2-3 years. Another 2-3 years of just posting Reels every day.
Yeah.
Trying to have my moment, go viral, because I had kind of realized over this time that I did really want to do this. I saw people were making money from it. I was really interested in it. I loved doing this creative stuff, and I was working full time in corporate banking.
Okay.
So this was just
very different.
Very different. So it was a nice creative outlet for me. But I'm somebody if something seems like a cool idea to me or a potential business or whatever, I'm all in. So every minute that I was not working or sleeping, I was working on videos, creating recipes.
Pouring everything into this. Yeah.
Yeah, truly. So I was working so hard. It took me so long to grow. Everybody around me, all my friends who were content creators, they finally would have their viral moment. And I was like, why is this not happening for me? So it was 3 years. And then eventually I came up with this series where I show people how to take a grocery list and then turn that into their weekend meals. And the lens was doing it through this budget-friendly angle.
Yeah.
The timing was timely, I guess, because it was early 2023, and this is when everything in the news, I know it still is, but everything was about inflation, grocery prices, and it was truly hard. And I was living in an apartment with my now husband. He was in law school, so we had one income, and we were feeling it too.
Yeah.
And living in Boston, it's expensive.
It's so freaking expensive.
So that's how I was planning my meals. Every week I would sit down, I would make my grocery list, and I'm trying to do it from this lens of eating healthy, because throughout this whole time I still had been on this health journey, weight loss journey that I had gone on. And then I decided to share that, and I never really thought that that would be the thing. Now looking back, of course, even meal planning content in general now is so big, but at the time, people were posting recipe videos, but they were not posting a grocery list with your meals for the week. Like, that was not a thing. So at the time, it was kind of revolutionary because I had no followers, and that first video got 1 million views. Like,
That's
nothing
crazy.
like that had ever happened. And Good Morning America reached out to me. BuzzFeed reached out to me.
You're like, okay, this is a sweet spot right here.
Yeah, it was so crazy. So I really just leaned in there, and I've been doing it a lot since then. Now 3 years ago almost.
That's crazy.
And I even wrote my book based on this concept where you get a grocery list in the book, you get 5 dinners for the week, each one makes 4 servings. By the end, you get 20 meals out of a very budget-friendly grocery list that's still healthy.
Oh my God, that's honestly incredible because I feel like there is so much trial and error that comes in this industry, and it's also so hard, like, to not beat yourself up for not going viral or having those moments and like not just being like, I'm going to throw in the towel. It's like consistency and persistence is like huge.
It is. And I always tell people you have to be delusional long enough to make it work because that's like for those of us that it's worked for.
Yeah.
You like I'm talking like I have 1 million followers when I had 100. Yeah. And like you had to.
You're talking to people about your day and the things you're cooking and you're like, maybe it's just my mom and dad that are watching this, but you know
like
what?
5 people from high school.
No, and they're
don't
like,
want to see.
There's always those people, like the first people you see that like stalk your story, and you're like, why are you watching so intensely?
I'm
It's
like,
a little.
hey.
I'm glad you're here.
But it worked.
I'm so curious though. Have you always been somebody that enjoyed the process of cooking? Because I feel like it is such a mixed bag. Like me personally, like I don't necessarily enjoy cooking. I know it's necessary to live, and like I can't just dine out at every meal. If I could, I would, but. Have you always been somebody that enjoyed it, the process?
Yeah. I know you love your Cheesecake Factory.
I do.
I'm going to show you how to do better. With
Okay, good. I need to know.
But yes, I have really enjoyed cooking, but it's not like I came from a family where like everybody loved to cook. It was actually kind of the opposite because nobody in my family was really the one that loved to cook. I kind of like stepped into that role and learned. Like I learned how to cook from watching Food Network after school, which I was obsessed with.
What was your favorite shows on Food Network?
I loved The Pioneer Woman. I loved Ina Garten.
Dree.
Yeah.
I mean, Ree Drummond, not Dree.
Yeah, she just had a new book come out.
Oh my God, love her.
I love her. Ina Garten's like OG, and even like Martha Stewart's show where I'd watch like rerun. I loved all of it. Like anything that was on.
You were so ahead of your time because now that's all like so trendy. But like back then, you're like it was not. You were
even my mom is like, "Why are we watching this?" But I really enjoyed that. Even shows like MasterChef, like those competition shows, I honestly have learned a lot from watching those. And I just got really into it. And I always loved recipe videos, like BuzzFeed Tasty, like all those Facebook videos.
Oh my God, I forgot about those.
Before Reels were a thing, like that was my thing. Like I would like scroll those.
Oh my God.
And I really loved it.
That's such a throwback.
I know, it truly is. But that's what kind of like showed me, like if you look at my early videos, it's all like overhead, like showing, and that was inspired by BuzzFeed. So anyway, getting off track.
No, I mean, I'm always down to talk about TV.
My family kind of like let me be the one in the family that cooked. So even when I was young, I really credit my parents. They gave me the opportunity to be in the kitchen and be creative, even when I was like 10 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they let me like, with supervision to an extent. They
sharpening the knives.
I would like bake cupcakes or, make like a pasta dish for the family. And they let me do that. I think part of it was because they were like, sure, like you want to do it. They were both full-time working parents, had 3 kids, and they just didn't have a ton of time to do it. So meals growing up were a little bit like we just didn't have a plan. We didn't really know. Like this whole concept that I do now was not something that I learned from growing up. It was really something that I learned like when I started to live on my own and need to figure it out.
Yeah, it was like out of necessity.
Truly, yeah. So I took on that role a little bit, and then I kind of just ran with it ever since. And like I was saying, I just don't really do anything like halfway, which is probably to a fault in some ways. But for this, it ended up being okay.
You're like, I am like fully diving into this because I don't know how to do anything other than that.
I took on that persona, so I'm like, I'm the girl who cooks. And then in college, like with my roommates and stuff like that, I was the girl who cooked. And when I met my husband, I was like, let's cook together. Let's do all this stuff. So it's always been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
But I've improved a lot, even in the process of, being a content creator. I'm not somebody that went to culinary school and has all this technical background. It's been all self-taught.
Yeah, which is cool.
Thank you. But yeah, it's been a journey, and like writing the book was the biggest thing that made me really become like a serious recipe developer because I learned this whole, years and years old process of recipe development, how to write a recipe, how to even write your list of ingredients and how to communicate it properly. So it's made me a lot better recipe developer.
Well, I feel like every step you've probably taken like through learning to cook for yourself and your family, and then sharing what works online, and then the eventually going viral part of it has like led to this cookbook era of yours, because all of them are different components that make you be able to do all these things. So it's really cool to see like the process come full circle.
Yeah, it's really crazy, especially like sometimes you get so caught up in it. I'm sure you feel like this too, where it's like day by day you're just like doing everything to
trekking along.
Yeah, but when you look back, it's like you really have created something, and being able to have this like physical book is definitely a very full circle moment for me and my family, even just like having it in our kitchen that I grew up in and things like that. But it's been so fun to take something that has always been something that I love so much, and I never thought I would have, you know, millions of people seeing my recipes and cooking my recipes and getting my book. Like, it just means so much.
Yeah, and I think most of your content, you do a really great job at like showcase. You talked about like the budgeting aspect of it all, and I feel like that's really just like approachable to everybody, because we're living in the world of the aesthetics, and sometimes the aesthetics are really expensive. And so it's kind of hard to be able to do those things where those videos go viral and you see these beautiful kitchens and like they're living in this mansion. And it kind of brings it back to reality with some of the stuff that you talk about. Have you always been somebody that's like an open book? You said you're kind of more like an introvert naturally. What is it like sharing your life online with millions of people? Because they don't necessarily go together.
Yeah, no, it doesn't necessarily. And like I was saying before, I never would have like signed up for this. So thankfully, when I started posting on Instagram, it wasn't like, you know, you share, like Instagram stories were a thing, but it wasn't like the way that it is now. So I think I like dipped my toes in very slowly, and I do really enjoy it. Like, I love that people recognize my dogs when we're out with them and stuff. Like, that's so fun. And I love that I get to meet people, and I see people in the grocery store and they have the list.
Yeah,
and like
that's cool.
The best. That's just the coolest feeling. So I've actually come to really enjoy sharing my life with people, and I think part of the reason that I like that, going back to the content that I share, I do try to make it very accessible, because I did feel like that was something missing in the food world too. Like, a lot of the content in the food world is not accessible. Whether it's a time thing, whether it's a money thing, ingredient access. I mean, there's just like so many layers to it. But I do live a pretty simple life. Like, you know, I cook my meals like how I show them. That's what I'm eating. Like, I don't really, I don't care for like some of the things that maybe typical like influencers would. And I've just never really been like that. So I enjoy kind of sharing like, hey, this is my day to day. This is what I'm doing. I work hard, and I like love to share, you know, the behind the scenes of this job. And that's really fun to kind of, I guess, educate people on how this industry works, because a lot of people just don't know.
Yeah, there's so much gray area, and there's so much like behind the scenes that people don't necessarily see. When did you make the transition from leaving your corporate job to doing this full time? Like, what was that decision process like? Yeah,
it was a hard decision, and I really liked my finance role, and that's part of the reason why I've carried in this like money budgeting aspect beyond the accessibility. Is like, I like to talk about money. I majored in finance because I like this, but it was hard to leave because it was safe. It was a good job. I really enjoyed doing it. I had a good team, but I knew that I always wanted to do something creative. My dream, even like before going into college and things like that, was to work for myself one day. And I always thought like maybe I would own a restaurant or something like that, because I knew I loved to cook. So I never thought it would look like this, but I decided to leave my corporate job in the summer of 2022. And I didn't leave and just go right to content creation, because I was very hesitant. Like, you know, it's
you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. It's hard to really trust it, and it's not very like predictable month over month. And my husband was still in law school at that point, so I'm like, you know, we gotta be careful.
Yeah, right. We gotta be able to pay the bills here.
Yeah. So what I did is I went and worked for another content creator for about a year, and that was just amazing. I had such an amazing experience and learned so much just about like being organized, the admin side. Like, she does a different kind of content, but there's a lot of overlap. She was working on a book, so it was really cool to see that process, and kind of like, now I never thought I'd be working on my own book at that time. So I did that for a year, and during that time is when this series went viral. So I started to realize, like, oh, wow, I didn't think this was going to happen, especially, like, I grew 1 million followers in 1 year. It was an insane year. So then I was like, all right, I got to figure out, like, this
what are we doing with these million people?
Yeah. And then, like, a year after that is when I decided to go full-time with Jenn Lueke, and it's been the best decision. Like, it was scary to do, but I really was able to put all of my time into it. I now have a team of 3 employees plus a lot of contractors, and there's just a lot. Like, I always tell people, and you would be so surprised by how much goes into just, like, getting posts out there.
Literally.
There's so much. And
there's
I do a
so
newsletter,
many random
and
things
I've been doing the book. It's just like, there's not enough hours in the day.
No, there really aren't. Especially, I feel like, too, like, writing a cookbook is, like, not easy in any way, shape, or form. Like,
someone said it.
No, right? Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I know personally, like, I read cookbooks and I think about, and I'm like, how did this person, like, create this story that goes with this recipe that connects the dots, that is also telling a story through the whole book? I'm like, oh, okay, like, it's really like a feat in itself. So what inspired the cookbook?
So
was it the series that inspired the cookbook? Or?
Partially.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically a way to encapsulate just everything that I wanted to share in one. So the series, I knew I had something there. I knew that people enjoyed getting a grocery list and getting their meals for the week. It was taking away their decision fatigue of what to cook every night. It was helping them save time and money. Like, it was just working. And the feedback that I got on that is what fueled me, like, you know, my book agent approaching me and telling me that there should be something that I do here. People also really like I do these meal prep videos where I show everything I meal prep for the week. And people love that. So I knew I had something there. And then when I started my newsletter, which I do on Substack, people really liked it. Like, I started to share in writing in a much more detailed format. All of the recipes, resources. I do these meal prep plans. We have all these notes and stuff. Like, there's just so much. So I realized, like, it makes sense to do this in writing in addition to my videos. And then I started to pitch my book. And, like, I was shocked by, you know, the publishers were really excited about this book. And then it got me really excited about it. But I pitched it as, like, not your typical cookbook. Like, and it really isn't. You know, there are and I'm obsessed with cookbooks, too. Like, I have so many. They're amazing. There's so many favorites that I have. But a lot of cookbooks are just a collection of amazing recipes, which is so great. I wanted to just, like, go one step further. So rather than it just being, like, all these recipes that, you know, I loved to make or, you know, were special to me or people love them, whatever it is, I wanted to provide, like, the next step. So not just, like, you get your book in the mail and then it's like, oh, fun, maybe I'll open it one day and cook something for a dinner party. But if anybody's anything like me, they're probably not going to because I can't tell you how many books I have. They're gorgeous. Love them on my coffee table. Love them in my kitchen. But, like, I've never made anything. And it's not anything wrong with anybody's book. It's just, like, I need more help. And I think if I'm having that issue and I'm someone that loves to cook, then I can imagine so many other people are feeling that way. Me. So I wanted to do that next step. So that's why I have these grocery lists. And then everything is in the book. You get the grocery list in the book. You can shop it. And then it tells you what page to turn to. You have your dinners for the week, and everything you get in the list is used up by the end of the week. There's nothing left over, and I have, like, the swaps and subs, the storage and reheating instructions for every recipe. So it's like everything in one.
This is made for me.
You're gonna love it. So that's the book is called Don't Think About Dinner, and that's the Don't Think About Dinner aspect of it. I want you to just, like, I did all the work, just get it, follow it. There's 12 weeks of dinner plans, and then there's a lot more too. Like I said, people love meal prep, so I have a breakfast and lunch chapter that's geared towards meal prep-able recipes. Which I love those chapters. They're, like, some of my favorite chapters of the book. I have snacks and sides and drinks and desserts. But before you even get to the lists and any of the recipes, I have about, like, 50 pages or so, I'm not sure exactly what it is, of just, like, everything you need to know. Like, if you've never even entered the kitchen before, like, that's fine. This
I can help you. Yeah.
And we walk through
So it's kind of like a really good introduction for people who don't necessarily know how to meal prep for the week, or someone like me who has decision fatigue constantly. So then I just end up, like, either making something weird and that I don't even like, or it's like ordering out and going on Uber Eats and just sending something to my door because it's easier. Which is great for me. Okay, this was really made for me. I need to pick your brain because I do have some questions, like philosophy and creative process when it comes to cooking in the kitchen.
Okay.
So, like, what is your kind of, like, biggest tip when you think of somebody meal prepping?
I would say don't feel like you have to meal prep every meal for the entire week. Like, if you have not meal prepped before, or you're just not someone who typically meal preps, going from 0 to 100 is going to stress you out. You're not going to finish everything that you made. You're going to feel bad about wasting food or money or whatever, and then it's just not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So my biggest tip would be prep one thing, like, and make it something really easy. And that's what these recipes and the recipes I share generally are meant to do, make it really easy. But whatever it is, whoever's recipe it is, if it's your own recipe, if it's something you made 2 years ago that you really liked, just do that one thing, like, you know, an overnight oats or something like that, or whatever you're craving. But that's something where you can prep it in 10 minutes, put it in the fridge. It's very, like, low stress. And you get,
like, the habit of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like rinse, repeat type of thing.
And once you feel that stress off your shoulders just for like a couple of days, I think a lot of people don't realize like how addicting that feeling can be. And then you want to do it because, like, if there's a week where I'm super busy and I don't meal prep, and I really do try to like meal prep every week because I know it's the best thing I can do for myself.
Setting yourself up for success.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like looking in my fridge. I don't know what to eat.
Yeah.
I don't have time to make something. I'm starving, and then I'm like in a bad mood, and it really takes a toll. So you start to like rely on it, and you don't have to spend 5 hours in the kitchen. I recommend like 60 to 90 minutes in the kitchen. And that's, you know, some people when you start, it's going to take a little bit longer. So that's why I say start with like one, maybe two things, and then build upon it. But you'd be surprised. You'll pick things up quickly, and like you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Repeat. I'm like the biggest recipe repeater. Repeat what you like, do what works, and then just like keep adding on.
Yeah, and I think too, I always have trouble, like I said, decision fatigue is huge for me. So like, how do you navigate like cooking things with similar ingredients, but like making them different from each other?
Yeah.
Is that like something you go through in the book too?
Yeah.
Because I need that.
Like, I love talking about this because this is how I make those budget-friendly series and the list in the book work. Is like, you can't use like lavender, honey, saffron oil, like chili crisp, whatever. All in 1 week, or even at all. Like, I really try to stay away from those specialty ingredients as much as I can. But you still can unlock these new flavors just from like little tweaks. And a lot of times it's the spice mix. And that's something like so low lift and easy. And you don't need anything crazy there either. Just like your basic spices that you might have in the kitchen. But then also like just finding a little bit of a different way to tweak it. Like, if I'm going to buy for a week a jar of sun-dried tomatoes, for example, there are so many things that you can do with it, and I kind of like nerd out over this, but it's just so true. Like, you can throw that into a skillet with like rice and coconut milk and broth and like a protein of choice, and you can make the most delicious like marry me chicken vibes skillet, and that's amazing. But then you can also take that and you can chop them up really finely, mix them with goat cheese and spinach, and stuff a chicken breast with it, and then that's like a completely different meal that used up your jar, which like maybe that's more of an expensive purchase on the list. And it's the same with your vegetables. Like, if you're using half a bag of kale, like, I'm gonna use that other half a bag of kale in a completely different way, but you're using it up nonetheless. So it's like unlocking that little bit of creativity. And my hope is, and what I've seen with the stuff that I've shared so far, is that if I can show people how to do that through my lists, then they can start to kind of like internalize that, and then in their own
create their own like interpretation of it.
And that's the goal. Like, as I want people to make my recipes and follow the book and the plans and things like that, but at the end of the day, I want people to understand they can take these tools and then develop things that work for them and their families if they want to. And then like feel so confident in the kitchen and not feel like you need this technical training, culinary background, all of that. Like, I'm a home cook just like anybody who makes my recipes is a home cook. And you can get really creative with ingredients without needing like a degree in like specialization in French cooking or whatever.
Well, that's like the daunting thing about like sometimes you open up a cookbook and you're like, I don't even know what half of these words mean, what these ingredients are, like, where do I find them? Are these at specialty stores? I think like me and my fiance like struggle a lot with obviously decision fatigue, but also like when there's two cooks in the kitchen, sometimes it's a lot harder because somebody wants something, somebody wants another thing. Like, how do we blend those? Like, do you have advice for like, because obviously like you and your husband, right? Like you got like, because you guys probably don't want to eat the same thing every day, do you?
Not always. No. And that's a really interesting question. And I think the answer is like establishing some kind of routine. routine or like division of labor type thing. So if like you're following a meal plan for the week, let's say, like if you wanted to really get very structured with it, then what you could do is say, hey, let's sit down and like pick out our meal plan for the week. And I always suggest people create their meal plan by taking their inventory of what they currently have. So look at your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, and it's like, and I do this every week. What do we have to use up? And that's a great way to save money also.
That's true,
And to make sure you're not wasting any ingredients. Like, is there half a carton of Greek yogurt in the back that needs to be used up? Maybe that can incorporate into like a yogurt sauce this week. So spend 20, 30 minutes if you have the time. I do this on Fridays. Just like take your inventory. What do you want for your meal plan for the week? Write it down or select it or whatever you want to do. And then make your grocery list right there. That way, when you go to get your groceries on like Sunday or whatever day you like to shop, maybe do a little meal prep that day too, you have your plan. And it's not like Sunday morning you're like, today is going to suck. I have no idea what we're making for the week. I have to make a grocery list. I have to figure out what everybody wants, what we're out of, what we need to restock on, and then go to the grocery store, get everything, figure out what I'm going to meal prep. It's like, who has the time?
I know, because you already have the Sunday scaries for what's going to come that week. You can't also do all the things on top of that.
I know, exactly. So like having some kind of routine like that and make it fun. Like if you were to sit down on a Friday night for 20, 30 minutes, maybe like before you do a date night dinner or something, and like have a glass of wine or like do something that helps you.
Let's plan next week's meals. Yeah, that's such
fun.
a good, because I always like, we run into the thing on like Sunday mornings where like, oh no, what are we going to cook this week? And then like we'll either avoid going to the grocery store because we're like, we don't want to go on a Sunday. It's going to be too busy. So that is a smart tip, is to just like kind of set yourself up for success in the future, which I feel like is a theme.
It really is. And if you don't want the same thing every night, one thing is like you can plan. I always tell people to start with just planning their weeknight dinners, like Monday through Friday dinner. And that's why I don't do plans that are like 7 days a week, 3 meals a day, because I just think like that there's a very specific person who wants that, and it's not the general like works for everybody. But if you start with your dinners, like I cook a dinner every night from the meal plan, or I try to. And it makes 4 servings typically. It's just my husband and I. And either like we'll eat together and have 2 servings, and then we'll have the next, like the leftovers for the next day for lunch, or, you know, the next night for dinner if we don't have time to cook. But if not, like I'll make the dinner, I'll have 1 serving, then we'll package up the rest, you know, follow the storage instructions, keep it in the fridge or even freeze it if you have too much. And then it's like, it will get used, so you can start to slot things in, but it's fine if you don't want to follow a plan that's like every night of the week or whatever. Like maybe you pick out 2, 3 meals that you want to eat that week, and then you supplement, you get like some greens, grains, you know, produce, protein,
make it
whatever.
super custom to you and like your lifestyle.
And ingredient prep works well too. So if you want to make like on a Sunday, make a batch of whatever you like, quinoa, sweet potatoes, chicken, ground beef, whatever, then you have it in the fridge, and like maybe one of you is craving a grain bowl, and then like one of you is craving tacos, and you can do both from your ingredient prep. That's
really smart. I'm really excited for this book. Like selfishly, like I can't wait.
I'm like, I need you to.
I need to do. I'm gonna make a video of me like with the cookbook, like doing the whole thing.
That would make my year.
I'm really excited to read it and to just like, because it feels like you feel crappy when you don't prepare food for yourself. Like it feels crappy when I'm like, oh my God, like I'm ordering takeout again. I know I'm wasting money doing this. Like I want to invest more time into it. And like you said, making it like a fun date night is such like kind of a flipping it on its head of sorts, because then it doesn't feel so tedious. It doesn't feel like a task or something to just check off your list. It's like an activity.
Yeah, like flip the narrative, make it something that you enjoy. And the same thing with cooking too. Like, and I don't think everybody needs to love to cook. Like I was saying before we started, like I make recipes for people who don't really like to cook, and I love that. But you will, if you start to do it and like get that kitchen confidence by even making like 1-2 meals a week, or meal prepping 1-2 things a week, then you're like, oh, this is fun. Like, oh, and actually I'm like, I have some skills, and like I want to show my fiance this, or like I want to have my parents over for dinner, and like I made this. This is so cool. And like that's how I started to get confident about cooking, and it turned into like my biggest passion.
I know.
And it doesn't have to be your biggest passion. But yeah, you're right. Like we all do have to eat, so why not have a little bit of fun with it? Why not feel good after we eat, and like be proud of what we put together, and save money, like on the other end of not feeling amazing. if you're ordering takeout every night, maybe it doesn't feel great. And on the other side, it's like if you're cooking for yourself and like have a plan, it feels so good. You feel like you are like killing it.
Pat on
You're
the back.
better than everybody else.
I'm adulting so hard, like literally.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, like the business side of this industry. We don't, like, you touched on it earlier, like we don't really like talk a ton about it, but like what has been the most surprising thing you've learned about the business side of things, like since this has become full time for you, since writing, whether it's about writing the book, like what you're kind of like, oh, this kind of opened my eyes a little bit to like what these people are doing all the time.
There's so much, like I could talk about this for 10 days straight. I think one of the number one things that I think specifically about the food blogger, whatever you want to call it, industry is like we are women dominated by far.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting that the industry doesn't really get as much credit as I think it would if it was a male-dominated industry. And I think this is true even with influencing, content creating. Like, to be a man in this industry is actually the minority, which is not most industries.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And I think it's really interesting how that's affected the narrative of being an influencer, being a blogger, a food content creator, like especially in food.
There's really not that there's not the legitimacy of other avenues of work.
And the crazy thing is, like, so many people that I've gotten the chance to meet through this job, and I still am new.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing it for 8 years, but there are people who have been doing it for much longer than me. It's like, there are people who are just incredible. Yeah. And even beyond somebody like a Martha Stewart Eingarten, like, we know this about them. But there are just so many people, like the OG food bloggers whose website you go to, you're not even thinking about it, but you're Googling pot roast recipe when it's the day before Christmas. Like, that's a real person.
Yeah.
And they are just a machine, like creating these incredibly helpful, SEO-friendly blog posts, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think of like Half-Baked Harvest.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And it's just like, those people are so impressive. And I just don't think people truly understand the amount of work and like intelligence that goes into that. So it's been really amazing
and the strategy
to learn.
Of it all.
It is such a strategy, and you always have to be like knowing what's going on. Like, you know, for websites, for example, Google analytics and SEO, like that stuff is always changing.
Yeah.
So you have to be on it, making adjustments, constantly updating, posting on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Short. Like, it is just such a
You also have to have like your finger on the pulse of like pop cultural relevancy and things like that.
Trending recipes.
Yeah. It is a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into it. A lot of education, like you said, that goes into it. It's not something that we necessarily talk about a lot.
It's so crazy. And I think the other thing too is just like people, when I meet people, especially older people, but even people our age, they just don't realize like how legitimate this kind of work is.
Oh my God,
you do,
how
what I do.
lucrative it is.
Yeah, truly. And you know, it's a very serious industry, and like I take the work that I do so seriously. Like, nothing is more important to me than putting out recipes that work, that are well tested, that people enjoy, that I'm replying to people's questions and comments, like all of that stuff. So, and like cultivating a community is hard. Like,
the community aspect of it is huge, I think. A lot of people see someone with a lot of followers and they're like, oh, they just want to like be famous or you know, capitalize off of this moment. It's more so like, how can I capitalize off the environment, the community that I have from my virality, and like give back to them in some way. Make it worth it that they're here. And make them feel seen and make them like want to continue being here. Yeah.
And those are the people that ultimately are successful with this job. Is like, you can have followers isn't going to get you anything unless you take it and make something out of it. And that is why I wanted to create this book. It is why I wanted to create my newsletter subscription, create like any different thing that I do in the future, because it's like, sure, you can have a following, you can have a viral video, but these platforms, you know, can go away at any moment. We saw that a little bit. So I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of us. Like, we want things that we own and things that we can turn into a legitimate business. But at the end of the day, I just think it is so cool, like, knowing there are so many people doing food blogging in all different ways, and they're just crushing it. They're so amazing. And, like, everyone that I know, like, there's just these amazing women who are so low-key about how much they are killing it and just, like,
how successful
so impressive.
they are,
Yeah, and I'm like, I want everyone to know how successful you are. Like, this is amazing. You're not just, like, you know, staying at home, like on the side, just like writing a little blog post.
Totally.
It's so much thought.
There's so much that goes into it. Who are some of your favorite follows online that you like love to give props to?
Oh, I love that question. There are a lot. I would say someone who has inspired me a lot on social media, but also with my book, is Alex Snodgrass from The Defined Dish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love her. And since her first book came out, this was when I was in the depths of like my weight loss journey. And I really leaned on her first book for recipes while I was like still learning how to make recipes.
Yeah.
So it's just been very full circle. We have the same book editor, so it's been very cool.
That's
and she
so cool.
actually wrote the quote on the back of my book.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's awesome.
So that was just so fun. But
That's such a full
I
circle
love following
pinch me.
her.
Yeah.
It really is. And then there are some other people, like Rachel Mansfield is somebody that I followed back when I was in my studio apartment here, like working full time, taking photos at like after work, posting on Instagram. And I was really inspired by her and like lucky to call her a friend.
That's awesome.
But I do think that there's just like a million people who are doing such creative things. Molly Boz has really inspired me, like creatively and design-wise for my book. Like I looked a lot at her books when I was deciding how everything would look, and I'm like so proud of how the interior of Don't Think About Dinner looks. And she was like someone that I looked to throughout. Of like she's made something where if you look at something that she created without seeing her name, her face, you would know it was hers. And I think that's so unique. But there are just an incredible group of women making food content who like deserve all the applause and praise because it's hard work.
It's good to hear you say that too, because I also feel like there's a negative connotation with a lot of like there's community over competition is kind of like what I think of the industry. Some people think of it as like dog eat dog, where like you shouldn't be giving other people flowers, especially if they're in the same space as you, because you're competing for the same brands and the same book options and like opportunities and things like that. But there's enough room for everyone at the table, like in my opinion, the dinner table that will be cooking.
No, it's so true. And every time, I think I really internalized that from people who are a bit older than me, being so gracious towards me with their time and advice and resources. Caroline Chambers is another cookbook author who...
Oh, I love her content.
Okay, yeah, she's amazing. I look up to her so much, and like, again, just very lucky to call her a friend of mine. But when I first met her, she's so huge on Substack. She's like queen. She's the best. And she took an hour of her time to just like explain to me how her newsletter works and like her suggestions for me. And this is when I had maybe 20 subscribers. Like I had nothing. And she, just out of the kindness of her heart, just helped me out. Yeah. And like I've never forgotten that. And like I try to bring that same kind of energy to anybody that I meet that, you know, wants advice or even just wants to be friends. But every time I've reached out or someone's reached out to me, it's just like come back tenfold in terms of support and help and advice, whatever I need. But it really is a great community, the food blogging community.
And I feel like there's so many people that like want to be in like the world of content that like, and there is so much noise out there, like people telling you like, buy my social media course and I'll teach you how to do all this stuff. Like you kind of have to like weed through it a little bit. And so it's good to know that like there is a helping hand of people being like, that are genuine about it. Yeah.
And it's so like those things always kind of make me laugh a little bit because it's like, there is no right or wrong. Like you never know. I think all of us feel like it was a little bit of luck. It was a lot of consistency for sure, but like you have to have your own thing. And I think that's what sets you apart is like your own spin, your unique angle. Like what are you giving that somebody else isn't? Yeah. Because if you're just recreating what somebody else has created, it's been done. Yeah. So why do people need to follow you instead of somebody else?
You are your own niche when you think about things, because people always try to put you into like a box. Yeah. Like I'm sure sometimes you'll feel like people will only view you as like a food creator, but you're stepping into this new pivot as like not just a food creator, but like an author too now, which is pretty wild.
It is pretty wild
to think about it. One question I have: what do you want like your social media legacy to be? If you look back on the world in 10, 15 years and you're like, I hope that this is the lasting impact I have online.
Wow. No one's ever asked me that before. Because it is like I was saying, it's just like you're kind of just like getting content out day by day. I think I would say like I want people to feel seen and heard by my content, and I try to do that in a few different ways. Firstly, by making this approachable type of content where I want anybody to feel like they could create a recipe or just follow along and get inspired by an ingredient or a spice mix or whatever it is, like something that simple. But I also think just making things feel approachable, accessible, you know, feeling like I am looking like, you know, there's so many people who they'll get tons of comments on their posts and not one reply from the creator. And I personally don't love that. Like, I really try to be in there and, again, make people feel heard and listened to if they have a question. Same thing with, like,
DMs and stuff,
Exactly. And, like, really be engaged, because for us, like, the people who do this kind of work, even though having followers doesn't necessarily equate to, like, you're done and you've made it, us having a following, you know, has given us so much. So I do think that in return, what we should do is engage with them, answer their questions, work with them, like, on a recipe. If they're having an issue, like, I want to get in and, like, work with them on it and, like, find a solution. And also just, like, thank people for supporting my work, buying my book, doing all this. Like, I think that's very important, and I want people to feel that I feel so grateful to them, but also to feel like I've given them tools to help them be a little less stressed, take away that decision fatigue, and just, like, enjoy the kitchen a little bit more. If that's how people feel after, you know, using the book, following me on social media, getting my newsletter, whatever it is, like, that is success to me. And when I hear something like that, it's like, that's why I have done all of this. I really want to just, like, make it more fun for people and not stressful, because food can be very stressful.
I know. I love that. I think that's the perfect answer. I'm so excited for the book to come out. When does it come out? Tell everybody.
So Don't Think About Dinner is out January 13th. And I'm just so excited. There's over 125 recipes from, like I mentioned, breakfast and lunch, all of the dinner plans, which you're going to get 3 months worth of dinner plans.
That's amazing.
There's a desserts chapter. There's drinks, sides, snacks, and then all of these resources. So if you're even just getting started in the kitchen, or if you're someone who already knows how to cook, you've got it down, you just want to flip to a page and make a recipe, it's really meant for anybody to follow along.
You know, I'm going to be the first customer in line, and I can't wait.
I cannot wait.
What else is coming up in 2026? Any are we thinking other books? Do we have other things in the works? Other projects that you want to tease? You're like, what's going down? You're like, let me get this book out first.
Yeah, don't ask me that. Oh my gosh. No, I'm very excited for this year. I'm going to be doing a book tour, so I'm just really looking forward to meeting everybody in person and just getting to share. Like, I've been working on Don't Think About Dinner for over 2 years, so being able to finally just show people the book and talk about it and be like, what are you guys making this week?
Right?
I'm really excited for that period and just to, like, start cooking from it, sharing with people. I'm going to be doing live videos and all kinds of videos on social media about it. And then beyond that, figuring out, you know, what is that next step. I just became a homeowner, so I'm very excited to settle into my new home, you know, figure out what's next for me and my husband, and then also, like, for the business, continue to grow my team, continue to grow our newsletter, which we love so much, and who knows what else.
Yeah, we'll see what else. We'll see what else the world has in store. I know it's going to be successful because you're such a powerhouse, and you're such, like, a calming energy. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for coming on the podcast, and so nice meeting you.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh my God,
this was
amazing.
Awesome.
I'll see you guys next week, and make sure to go follow Jenn on social media. I'll make sure everything is linked in the description for you guys. And I can't wait to get to cooking. Bye, guys.
Can't wait.